What's going on this Tuesday? Tennessee Vols baseball back in the win column tonight, 9-4 over Belmont. Final home game of the regular season. We're going to talk a lot about, is this the final home game of the season at all? It's going to depend on that. Make sure you hit the like, the share, the subscribe. Appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. We'll talk this game a little bit, and we'll probably spend a lot more time talking about the weekend, what's coming up, what the road is ahead. But overall thoughts, what stood out to you on win number 40 tonight? Just saw you tweeted it out, 6 straight years, 40 wins?
Yep. 6 straight years of 40 wins.
Pretty dang good. Overall thoughts on tonight?
I mean, I thought it was pretty decently good. I mean, you had the 2 big innings. Outside of that, it was a little bit of a snooze fest. I know the rain delay, the 500th rain delay we've had this season, kind of threw things off. I really liked Sharman to start the game. I thought he pitched well once again. You may have found something there that could be helpful down the line if you do need a starter in, let's say, regional play or even in the SEC tournament. He could be a guy that I'd be willing to turn the ball to after how he's pitched today and then last week as well. So I think it was good to see him pitch well like he did. Crabtree pitched pretty good. 2 innings, 3 strikeouts. That's pretty stinking good. Binky struggles are still there. Breedlove struggles are still there. So those are 2 guys that I feel like that may have been the last chance that they had to prove it, and they didn't necessarily do so today. Binky's been a disappointment this season. He was supposed to be essentially arm number 2 out of the bullpen when it comes to lefties. It was supposed to be Dylan Lloyd number 1, and then Binky number 2. He's not even close to that right now. So they would go with Arvidsson, and then heck, they'd put in Sharman over Binky right now in an SEC game. So it's kind of disappointing seeing him fall off as much as he had. And then Braden Krenzel, 2 innings to close the door. He's a guy that the coaching staff's been relying on a lot these past few weeks, just simply because he does have the potential, and they probably will turn to him to get some big outs the rest of the way. Even though he hasn't really done the most with what he's had the past few weeks, they keep on giving him chances. So we'll see how that plays out. So the pitching, I was pretty okay with the pitching. I thought that was well. Defense played good, even in the rain. It didn't kind of feel like we had as many blunders tonight as we had over the weekends and stuff. But the midweek play has been clean for the most part. It's just the bats are you get 2 innings today, and that's about all you got. But I can understand that kind of happens when you have the rain delay like it did. Nice to see Andrew Fisher hit the 3-run homer, and then Inslee get the solo shot after that. And I feel like that's probably the best part of the game was him getting the standing ovation as he was substituted off the field.
Yeah, that's right. Could have been Hunter Inslee's last game in Knoxville tonight, possibly, depending on what happens this weekend. I mean, we've seen the guy grow over time. I mean, I think back, 2 years ago, he was a 2-hole hitter. The big moment for me that stood out that year with him was at Clemson. He had the game-winning hit when it went to extra innings after, of course, the Zane Denton heroics enabled that, but Inslee had the big hit and extras. Last year, slow start for him. People were questioning, should he be in the lineup or not? All of a sudden, the Florida weekend happened, and he never looked back. He hit 5th, and he belonged at the end of the year. He was hitting right with those guys. And then this year, he's just been solid from start to finish this year. And that's good to see. Good to see him take that other step here as well. I wonder, you talk about him playing clean during the week. Could that be a thing? There's not near the pressure during the week.
No, there's not.
I don't think it's a coincidence, to be honest with you. Even the ETSU game, they were pretty clean. ETSU just hit their pitching.
Yeah.
Now I could be wrong. There could have been some errors. I can't remember.
I think there was
some errors that game.
I think there was some errors that game. ETSU was just, you couldn't put them down that game. And that was the only non-conference loss we've had this season was ETSU.
Yeah. Yeah. Had the lead going to 9th, then Combs gives it up, and then went to the 10th, and Franklin. That was kind of around the start of Franklin. That was the start of Franklin's concerns, and I don't think he's recovered from it at this point. But it's been the consistent thing. It's the same pitch. It's getting him killed right down the middle. Yep. Yeah, we held the run game good tonight. Had a couple pickoffs. Had Lawless gunned a couple guys tonight, didn't he?
I know the one guy
He at
slid
least
off the
gunned
bag.
one. Yep, had some pickoffs. That was some improvement. I mean, most of that's coming. I mean, we know the big part's Marcus Phillips, that they're just running it well on him. We'll talk about what his role may be going forward, because Vitello was not happy with him. And I think it was more because he didn't cover first than it was the picks myself. But it's, we'll see on that, because it's been going on for weeks. It's not like it just crept up this weekend or something. But, looking at it as well, I mean, I figured you was pretty happy your boy Backus got to play
He didn't do
tonight.
anything.
So I figured you were jumping up and down about that one.
No.
Tonight.
No. He's too many strikeouts.
I thought he was a senior.
I thought he was too. I don't know.
But
he probably has another
he
year.
Still has a year. You might have said that in your preview video, actually, early in the season, that he has a year if he wants it.
I may have said that. Not sure. That was a long time ago.
It didn't really dawn on me until I heard him say he has a year, and it's like, I think you said that, but you think there's any way he sticks around?
No, I don't see why he would.
I don't see why he would either. I really don't. I mean, a place like ETSU, for example, could be perfect for him or something like that.
Yep.
Possibly. A lot of guys played tonight. I mean, looking at it, you mentioned Fisher had the 3-run bomb. Good to see him heating up. This is the right time for him to heat up here. He's really seemed to like that 2-hole pretty well. Inslee, of course, 2 for 2 again tonight. Bargo. Those 3 guys right now are hitting really well. I like where they've got him placed. Keelan, he was 1-4, had a double. He had a hit and 2 RBIs.
I've been thinking about that. Him and Dean Curley are both batting .273 in conference play. Gavin Keelan in conference play only has 3 home runs and 6 RBIs. So all his stats are getting padded in non-conference midweek games and the games in the beginning of the season. Outside of the Ole Miss series, that's the last time I feel like we've saw him like to his potential in SEC play. He's just not been there. Like he's been, and it's kind of weird because he's kind of getting, nobody's really talking about him not being a factor, and he's not been a factor. Like he's a factor maybe one day out of the weekend.
Yeah.
Other than that, he's kind of going over. And I know like this last weekend, he was like 2 for 12 or something like that, and the 2 hits came in the Saturday game. And they pretty much did the same thing the week before. Yeah, it's just like that's your leadoff guy. I was going to look and see when was the last time we had their first batter of the game reach off a hit in like a SEC game from him, but I didn't have enough time to look at that because I feel like it's been a minute.
Reminds me of who was it? Maui Ahuna was the leadoff 2 years ago. Never got on the start game. Struck out most of the time.
He really did.
Used to piss me off. It's like, put somebody else in there. At the end, I think in the College World Series last game or two, he finally got on to start the game. It's like, well, it's about time. But, I mean, I don't think it's coincidence either. I mean, since he's come back off the injury, that's affected him too, that injury. I mean, he's just not been the same since he's come back. Like I said, a lot of his stats are non-conference. I was pulling them up here. I mean, you got Inslee 351, Bargo 326, Fisher 304. That's your only 3.
Yeah.
Over 300 in conference play. Like you mentioned, Curley and Keelan, both 273. I mean, Abernathy's 277, but he has not near the at-bats. Chapman 253. Peebles 222. Look at some more. Clark 182. I mean, Grimmer 222. Marin 233. So these averages, man, they're just, if you look at the conference versus overall, it's a pretty drastic difference. Inslee's the only one who is actually a little lower overall, or I'm sorry, in conference than overall, but he's pretty much on pace with it. And Fisher is pretty much the same. I mean, who would have thought Bargo up to 327 on the year after the way he started?
Yeah, that's been pretty good.
I mean, he's one of their most clutch guys right now. Those 3 guys are really the 3 that's doing it for him. I mean, Curley had a decent weekend. he had, what, 3 2-hit games over the weekend, which was good to see.
Yeah.
That bottom is what we need. The bottom, we need Keelan to get going a little bit more than I feel like it's been 2 weeks in a row. It's two hits on Saturday or the middle game and nothing the rest of the time. It's kind of been the same. Man, we need some guys at the bottom going. I thought Peebles was going, and then he didn't have that good of a series this weekend, and he looked bad on that last at bat. I mean, he was in the mid bad all 3 times before he swung. Yep. And that kind of surprised me because I felt pretty good with him coming up to bat in that situation, but I don't know if the moment was too big or just not adjusting. I mean, it could have been a number of things there as well. But you talked about pitching and you talked about Sharman. I agree with you. I think that's leading toward, if you go far in the SEC tournament or if you get, like I said, a regional to a game 4, something like that, I think that's where you pretty much going to see him come in to play. And, possibly, who knows? I just feel like he's another one, though, on the weekends. They don't trust him. Yeah. They'll let him throw 2 batters and pull him out. Of course, so, I mean, I don't know. None of your lefties are consistent right now. I mean, Loy has had some rough weekends. Arvidsson will look great 1 inning and can't throw the ball across the next. I mean, he's got good stuff. It's just, I mean, it's kind of the story of the whole pitching staff right now, other than Liam Doyle. So, I don't know. Is there anything I'm forgetting on tonight's game before we kind of hit everything overall?
Not really. I don't really think there's much else to hit on tonight's game.
No, you pretty much hit it. I mean, other than the 2nd and the 7th innings, it was kind of a bore tonight. Yep. I mean, one thing that did stand out, 8 left on base. Curley left 4. Chapman left 3. Abernathy left 1. Strikeouts tonight, just 5. I mean, I'll take that out. 7 walks, pretty good. Pitchers struck out 12, walked 5, and Breedlove walked 3 of them. It's not too bad. Yeah, Binky, I'm like you. That was a guy I thought would be more of a factor this year. What was his injury early in the season, or was it just the fact that he was getting lit up in fall and getting lit up in spring, and they just didn't want to use him?
I have no idea what his injury was.
Because I know for a fact that he got lit up. Was it the Pizza Series, or I can't remember when it was, where his team he was on come in with a big lead and Levi Clark walked him off because they said Chris Newstrom was livid after it. And
yeah.
So that was when I gained a lot for him, like a guy like that who gets a little fired up. But I don't know what the deal is there. I mean, they said something about an injury, but I've never really heard what the injury was. So I don't know if it's – yeah. And then, like I said, Krenzel, he's had his moments, but he's still a guy they're going to have to rely on, I think. And, the biggest thing for him that made him effective earlier on, I thought he was getting some good location on his ball. Seems like he's been a little more elevated here lately. So, I mean, that's kind of been everybody's problem. So, we'll wrap up on Belmont. We'll talk about the rest of the way. So, D1, there were numerous projections out today. I think I've seen 3 or 4 of them. Some of them had Tennessee in the top 15 still, and at least a couple. One of them, I think, still had them 15, but said if they don't win this weekend, they're going to be out of hosting.
Yeah.
And another one, I think you said you saw already had them going to West Virginia and around. One of them I saw had them basically acted like them and Dallas Baptist could be kind of flip-flop a little bit. Like you said when we were talking about it beforehand, I mean, the big thing that stood out to me on it is I don't care to go on the road to those teams. None of them scare me. They're not SEC teams. Problem with that is who are you going to face in the Supers? Possibly Texas, LSU, somebody like that. Tennessee can beat any of them, but they can't with the way they've been playing. so far. So, I mean, I think it's pretty easy what we need this weekend, but what do you need to see this weekend?
I mean,
Realistically.
there's a lot of things that you need to see this weekend. I think the most sure thing is you have to win one. Like you can't get swept here. I think you win one, then you're just kind of floating. I think you get swept, it's unacceptable. You win one, I'm still gonna be upset. Like I'm not gonna be happy just winning one game of the series and then essentially losing every series in the last month and a half to almost 2 months of the season. That, of course, won't be happy about that. But I think it's the fact that you would be able to have avoided the sweep, even though you've played like awful SEC baseball for pretty much 2 months. It's gonna be extremely hard to win the series. Like that's gotta be put on the table first and foremost. It is going to be incredibly hard to go down there and win a series after we've had the past month and a half that we've had, and it's just one of those things. It's like, well, where's Arkansas standing at? Where we're standing at? We're desperate. Like we have to win a series. We win the series, we're hosting. Like that's just how it's going to go. They're going to kind of forget about everything else that kind of happened before this. You beat Arkansas the last series of the regular season. You go to Hoover. You win 2 games in Hoover. And you're fine. You're going to be hosting. You probably won't even be the 16th team hosting. You may move all the way up to like 13 or 14. I could very well see that happening. Just because at that point we would have 44 wins. 44 wins is pretty stinking good if you're going into the NCAA tournament, considering we've had an awful, and I mean awful season. It feels like an SEC play, but we're still 3 games over 500 in SEC play. You win the series, you're sitting, what would it be? 17 and 4, yeah, 17 and 13. So then you're 4 games over 500 in SEC play. It's okay just to go 500 in SEC play for most teams. If that's the case, that's when you beat Arkansas this week. Okay, then you move up to right now was like the 14th projected seed. That's Alabama. We already have the tiebreaker with Alabama. There's a chance we still have the same record, but we wanted their place, so we automatically get put in whatever spot they're in. Then you can make the argument for us to jump higher, and it all starts with winning this weekend. I fully expect you to win game 1 with Liam Doyle. That's got to be the thing here on out. Tennessee wants to make a run. Every time Liam Doyle steps on the mound, you have to win the game. Like there's no excuse about that. You can't afford to lose that. You lose with Liam Doyle on the mound, you might as well pack up your season if it's the postseason. I feel like because you're not gonna. It's gonna be a huge uphill climb after that. I don't know what they do on Friday night, where this is the Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. I can't promise that Marcus Phillips runs out. I'm sure Tony may be talking about that right now in his post-game press conference that I, of course, can't watch because I'm doing this. But I can't promise that he runs out on Friday night. I mean, you saw how pissed off he was at him in the post-game press conference. Like he's just fed up with it. He's gave up what 32 stolen bases this season, and
Yeah.
you're throwing them out at like a less than a 10% rate. That's just pathetic. Like you can't have that. And it's hurting him. It's hurting Phillips mentally. And I don't really know if there's too much you can do to fix that problem right now. Because all it takes is one batter. One batter gets on first and there's no outs. Phillips is going to be, that's going to be in the back of his mind. If it does he run? Oh, if he steals the base, I can't be looking in the dugout because Tony and Frank's going to be giving me some looks. And it's just kind of a mental thing. And we've seen that happen over the past few weeks where he kind of blows up after that. I don't know how he pitched so well against LSU. That's kind of weird how he pitched like that weekend. And then everything outside of that's been kind of how it is. It's been rough going. Other than that, it's just been disappointing seeing him go out each week and just not knowing what you're going to get out of him whatsoever. So I can't promise that he goes out Friday night. If he does, essentially you can't have any runners get on base because they're going to run. And I don't even know if there's a big enough adjustment to make with his like delivery to change the fact that they're not going to steal bases. And if that's the case, and you do change something at this point in the season, like if you change something in his delivery, he may get lit up because of that. So we'll see how that plays out. But I think I would make the change. I wouldn't let him start on Friday night. But of course, I'm not Tony, and I didn't win a national championship. I would go with Coons and Russell, but that's just my opinion. So what do I really know?
I see that point a lot, though. People say, well, he won the national championship while we question him. He's a big boy. He gets paid a lot of money. And I think it's a case. I've questioned him on here. I don't have a problem doing it. It doesn't mean I'm thinking less of him, but it's when we're losing the way we're losing, there's questions to be asked. I mean, if we were just getting beat on it, but how many of these games of these series can we look back and say we should have won? On that, I mean, we should have won the Vanderbilt series this week.
Should have won Vanderbilt. Should have won Auburn. You could kind of make the argument, and he could have probably should have lost that one. LSU should have won that series.
Yep.
Texas A&M should have won that series. Kentucky, you absolutely should have won that series. Somehow you beat Ole Miss. No idea how you beat Ole Miss.
I don't know how on that one.
That's just one of the things. It's like Ole Miss, you got lucky there. LSU, you should have won that series. Kentucky, that should have been like a lock to win that series. Vanderbilt, that should have been a lock to win that series. I think the only series you could kind of pass it by is, okay, you just outright got beat. In my mind, that's what I can think of right now is just the Auburn series. Like, they just flat out beat us. Weather was what the weather was, but they did just flat out beat us that series.
Yeah, I mean, it just it is what it is. I mean, when you're making errors, when you can't run the bases well, when you're getting stolen on like it's Little League, no situational hitting, we're inexplicably bunting when we've had 2 straight hits and with the safety squeeze, which to me is the most useless play in baseball. We're pulling a pitcher who's gone 3 2/3 innings, who's rolling along, and we just decide to pull it out and go to our bullpen who's had trouble getting anybody out for the last month. It's just those decisions. I do have a problem with it. I love Tony Vitello, love the staff. It's a great coaching staff. No staff I'd rather have, but I still have questions about it. And I have the right to ask those questions too on it. That doesn't mean I'm a fair weather. I've watched Tennessee baseball since I was a kid. I know Tennessee baseball probably about as good as anybody out there on it from years and years ago, back when they were going to the College World Series back in the 90s, 2000s. I was there along the ride. So I'm not a fair weather guy who's just questioning. And I know I'm just saying, I see people, you've got the people don't think you should question. But anyway, off of my rant there, yeah, there's issues. But with all that said, can it be fixed? Yes, it is fixable along the way. And, looking at this weekend too, I was looking at Arkansas stats and SEC play. They've got 7 guys hitting over 300. So if Phillips starts and he doesn't have his best stuff, you're right. These guys, and it doesn't look like in conference play they run a ton, but they're efficient. They're 13 out of 14 in conference play, which is what I really look at on it. Well, there's a chance they would be 26 out of 27 in conference play if Phillips starts and is not on it, because they'll run on him all day long. Yep. And to me at this point, and Tony said it, game 2, we have it's killing our energy. And I think he was more pissed over Phillips not coaching, covering first base than he was the picks. I mean, the picks, what Ole Miss have 12 stolen bases, Kentucky 10, Vanderbilt 8. It's nothing. Like I said, it's like 36 steals, less than 10%, rate of catching them along the way. It's unless he's cooled down a lot, I don't know I don't think you see him. I think you've got to maybe at this point, the way your bullpen's been, if Russell is amped up, I mean, how many innings is he going to go now? He went 3 2/3. It's time to turn Coons loose.
Yeah.
That's 2 weeks in a row. Now I get the weekend before against Auburn. He was at 75 pitches. He was at 48 pitches this past weekend, and he had thrown 2 good innings in a row. There was nobody on base when he got pulled out of the game. He had 5 strikeouts during that time. It's time to let him go further, because right now, and I know these guys are talented, I have a hard time trusting Loy. I have a hard time trusting Franklin right now.
Hard time. There's not a single this is 1,000% the truth. Those bullpen doors open, there isn't a single man that runs out of those bullpen doors that I'm confident about. The only player that goes onto the mound and touches the baseball that I'm confident in is Liam Doyle. Anybody else, I'm not. Doesn't matter if it's Marcus Phillips. Doesn't matter if it's Coons, Russell, Loy, Snead, Arvidsson. Nobody. I don't trust a single one of them right now, and it's honestly it's concerning, and it's been concerning for a few weeks. And I do think that is something that is addressed in the offseason. I think there will be a lot of turnover you see on the pitching staff and in the bullpen. Like in just, I think it'll be kind of like you've seen Josh Heupel do, and you've seen guys they all just hit the portal, and you're like, well, what's going on? Because they weren't good enough. And I think that is one of the things that we will see. And I think there's a total overhaul there, and I think there may be a few guys on the team that can come back next year. You don't see him come back because Tony's going to cut them loose because they're just not good enough. Because it's been extremely disappointing right now watching this bullpen because not a single one of them's worth a darn. And that's just totally being honest. Like Franklin hasn't been good, Snead hasn't been good, Loy hasn't been good, and those are all three guys that you really have to trust because they really should be carrying this bullpen right now, and they're just simply not doing it. And I've wanted to pull my hair out each weekend because it's like you crawl back into a game, you give up a solo shot, and it's just like a nightmare on a Sunday. It's like each weekend I'm getting ready to go down to the creek to get my baptism, and next thing you know, the stinking rapture comes. Like it's like, what's going on here? So it doesn't make any sense. It's just the bullpen's been driving me crazy for weeks, and that's kind of the thing. I feel like that's affected the offense too. It's like we get a run or two, and we cut down on the lead, and then the bullpen just gives up a solo shot, or they give up another run or two, and it's kind of like back to where you were. You're back to square one. It's just something that's been disappointing me for a while, and I'm almost to a breaking point, and that breaking point may be reached this upcoming weekend.
I about hit it this past weekend. I mean, it's the 0-2 fastballs down the middle. I've seen enough of them.
It's happens for so long too. Is the sad thing.
It's not the first year either.
No, I've
seen it where people say, "Well, the analytics say you challenge a guy on 0-2." Yeah, does the analytics say we put one off the freaking scoreboard in right field too? Yeah. I mean, it says we don't want to waste a pitch. I guess one going off the scoreboard in right field's not a wasted pitch, according to the analytics. I don't know.
That was something we did whenever you had Burns, Dolander, and Tidwell. That was the call. It was 0-2, 1-2, and they just threw a fastball right down the middle. And it did work a lot of the time. Like with Burns, it worked the majority of the time because most of the time you weren't hitting his fastball. But then you get to game 3 of the Super Regional against Notre Dame, he gives up a 2-run shot to tie the game in the top of the 7th inning. You get a 1-2 count, and he throws a meatball right down the middle on a 1-2 fastball and solo shot.
It wasn't middle. That's a pitch that's gotten him killed. It was the high outside pitch.
It was supposed to be.
Well,
on that one, the catcher was set up outside, but it was middle up. Like it was right down the middle, which is kind of what we've seen. It's like I don't think it doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter where you call it. If it's 0-2, 1-2 count, you don't need to be throwing fastball unless it's just totally off the plate. I just don't think that's something that should happen. And we've seen it over and over and over and over and over again, year after year.
There's only 2 places I would throw it. One, if I were, and I'm with you, I'm probably not calling it. Yeah. But if I went 2 off speed, breaking ball type pitches, I'd come back with fastball. But it sure as hell wasn't going to be right down the middle.
No, it's not even going to be close to the zone.
It's not going to be anywhere where the guy can get extended.
Yeah.
On it, it's going to be up, not quite middle to end. Because if you hit it here, you're not going to do much with it unless you just tomahawk it. Or fastball inside, right under the handle. You might turn on it and foul it off at best.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm not even throwing a hanger or nothing over the plate. I'm throwing something that's breaking outside on it. And, I would waste the pitch. And maybe throw a fastball low. I mean, you're not going to. I don't think a low outside fastball, you can hit that out if it's placed right. Now, if it's high, you can, but there's been too many of those pitches, though, over the years. I'm not throwing a fastball that's outside where a guy can either get extended left or right because they're putting it out to right or left field. We've seen it numerous times. We saw it this past weekend on some. It's just maddening, man. It
is.
And I don't know if that's what's being called or if guys are just missing the spots on that. And, people I know that I've asked said they don't know where the location's being called. So I can't say for sure that it's being called down the middle, and I can't say for sure that the pitchers are missing their spot. But the bottom line is it's a fastball.
Yeah, it's called anywhere close to the zone. That's the issue. I know you're not setting like right in the middle, right in the heart of the plate, and that's where you're calling fastball. I know that's not the call. It's just the fact that you're calling fastball anywhere around the circumference of the heart of the plate is the issue. Doesn't matter if it's inside, outside, high, or low. You just can't call a fastball. It doesn't make sense. If you're going to call fastball in that situation, it can't be a strike. It's got to be at least 3 inches off the plate. Like, that's just inexcusable.
Yeah, you throw outside pitch too. I mean, outside pitch. Well, I mean, look at what's Doyle's big pitch. It's that kind of riser.
Yeah.
People can't do anything with it. That's a good pitch.
Yeah, for guys like
Doyle has movement on his pitches too.
For guys like him and like the superstars, like if it's like Chase Dolander and Chase Burns, like you can call a fastball like a 0-2, 1-2 fastball. Unless if it's like early in the game, I wouldn't do it in the 7th inning. That's a little maddening because that's when you kind of see what happens because at that point, guys have seen the pitcher 2 or 3 times at that point. So I understand it. If it's like within the 4th inning, that's okay. And we've seen that in the past and it's kind of worked. Just late in the game is whenever it's kind of come back to bit us. And it's kind of like you should know by now, you shouldn't call that pitch.
Yeah, I think here's a good point. Here are the vibes. I mean, the fact that Fisher, I mean, it was I mean, I know what he was doing, but I said it too at the end. If you're going to pull that, I had a problem with Tennessee trying to act big and bad at the end of that game.
Yeah, I did too.
You just got punked at home. Take it and go to the dugout.
Yeah,
I thought it was a bad look on him. I get you're defending your territory, but Vanderbilt come in and took 2 out of 3 from you. It was high intensity. There was mouth running. I had no problem with Vanderbilt letting them have it at the end of it. I had no problem with it at all. And, too, I hate it that we're back to this crap sending out here because Vitello got tossed 2 weeks ago, and he went out there for a reason to get tossed on it. It wasn't something that he's even been close to doing all year. And then the Fisher thing, people start saying, "Oh, this team of jerk." No, this is nowhere close to even the 2022. I know the 2022 team was over the top with birds being shot and all that stuff. But, we were Tennessee fans. We loved it then. Yeah. But going into this, obviously Arkansas is big. You take 2 out of 3 you're hosting. You don't. I don't think you're hosting. And I don't ever know how much really emphasis they're putting on the SEC tournament. 1 year they will, 1 year they won't. So, I mean, it's like if you make a run, does it make a difference? And
I think you're in a situation where you can't risk it. Like, if you win the series and or even sweep Arkansas by a miracle, if you do that, no matter what, I think you have to win at least a game in the SEC tournament. Like, you're going to be judged by that. It's like, okay, you've lost the past 4 straight series. Before Arkansas, you win at Arkansas, then you lay an egg in the first game, you go home. It's kind of like they'll be kind of debating on that one in the room. I just feel like you have to win at least one. I think you have to make it to Saturday if you start on Thursday. Especially if you do lose this series, just to even be in the conversation. I think if you get swept this weekend, no matter what, you can win the SEC tournament. And that doesn't lock you up that just locks you in the field. That doesn't lock you up for a hosting spot. So, right. You could lose the series this weekend and then win the SEC tournament, and you still wouldn't be able to host. But it's just a whatever Tony thinks kind of thing. We saw it last year where it was like, I didn't want to win because I didn't want to waste the pitchers. Then Vanderbilt did what they did. Yeah. They beat us. Okay, we couldn't handle getting beat by them twice. So it was kind of might as well just go win the thing. And that's what we did. I do feel like this is a situation this year where it is, okay, Tennessee is 1,000% a lock for hosting. If you win the Arkansas series and you make it to Saturday in the SEC tournament, it'll be a lock. Like I don't know where we'd be at, but at worst case scenario, you're the 16th team, and there isn't much of an argument for us to host or another team to host over us. Now that would be the best case scenario because at that point we're going into regionals, and it's like, let's get this show rolling. Like we just had a great series. Arkansas won that series. We had a pretty good trip in the SEC tournament. We're kind of hot now. Like the bad days are behind us, so we can get this rolling, and we've proven that we can beat anybody in in the NCAA tournament. It doesn't matter, even in the super regionals. It doesn't matter where we go. Like we can win, and that's kind of Tony's specialty. It's a little bit different whenever NCAA tournament comes around. Like he just kind of what is he? He's 12-0 or 13-0 right now in the past 12 and 13 NCAA regional games. So it's kind of one of those things. If you make regionals, I fully expect to move on. Like it's just what I expect at this point.
Yeah.
I don't care where we go. I just fully expect to move on to the super regionals, but the super regionals is the scary part because you're probably going to get matched up with the SEC team no matter where you are. And if you're not, you're probably looking at Florida State, and that would be something.
Yeah. I'll take ACC.
Yeah,
I'll
I would
take
too.
the pair of
Yeah.
ACC. Be fine with me.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, we talked about, you said about them getting hot at the right time, or, they get it and it's behind them. What is it? It's either DraftKings or FanDuel or something still has them with the third highest odd or third lowest odds to win it all. So, there's some of the odds makers have not given up on the team, and probably a lot of people are seeing it. You fix a few things, you're
golden.
This thing's going again. And, you talked about winning some of the SEC tournament. What was it? 2 years ago, they went in with a shot to host, lost the first game, and ended up going to Clemson. Ended up being a good draw because you won the Clemson regional, and then you went to Southern Miss and won that super regional as well. That paired you with LSU, who was the national championship in Omaha. But when you get to Omaha, you're playing good teams anyway.
Yeah.
So we won the ACC Invitational in Omaha last year, so that is what it is. But looking at Arkansas, they can hit. Yeah. Root is their guy. He's got almost a 5 ERA in SEC play. So I'm kind of like you. We've got to get that one. We got to make some things happen. And then I don't see Phillips going Friday night. I'm thinking it's probably Russell, or I wouldn't be surprised if it's not Russell, since they went him 3 2/3. But I don't think you just totally bench Marcus Phillips. His pitching has still been good.
He's like the bullpen by no means is good enough right now to just let Phillips just sit it out and come in and like die-hard scenarios. Like if Phillips does get benched from the starter role, he's going to come out of the bullpen, and it could turn into be a Trace Burns situation because he is a guy that Phillips can get it up there with the speed.
Yeah.
And he could be a different factor out of the bullpen. It's a little bit different. You're coming in to start. It's like, considering he's programmed right now to start, he's warming up thinking, okay, I got to throw 100 pitches today. Like that's just kind of how you're warming up. Okay, if you're warming up in the 7th inning and you only got to throw like 15 pitches, you're going to be throwing it a little bit harder. Your stuff's going to be moving a little bit better. That's just kind of how it is. And that could be a situation that really helps him. And it could be one of those things. If he's throwing it like that, runner gets on, you can steal. I don't care. He'll be like prime Kenley Jansen. Like you can steal every base you want to. I'm just going to get you out, and we're going to win the game no matter what. It's just one of those things of it's a different dynamic whenever you're starting and then coming out of the bullpen. And it could be something that really helps them. I think the only issue is if you do turn it over, Coons can throw you 90 pitches. I feel like that could be something that you could see. You could get 90 pitches out of Coons. If they'll let him. It's just the Russell thing. It's kind of concerning because what are we getting out of him? 2 innings probably. You're hoping for 3.
He got 3 2/3 Saturday out of him. So
but if he keeps the pitch count down, is kind of the thing. It's what we've kind of seen is it's just the pitch count kind of thing. It's what's the ideal, what you're getting out of him. You're not getting 5. That's just unrealistic. It doesn't matter unless it's Omaha and you've been at Omaha for a day or two. Then you may get like 5 innings out of him, but that's going to be risking it with his arm and everything at that point. But then again, if you're playing in Omaha, you got to kind of throw the arm out the window if you're a pitcher. I know I would, but of course I'm not Tony Vitello, and I wouldn't make that decision to risk the kid. It would be kind of his decision. But just one of the things, it's kind of hard to decide how we go the rest of the way after that. Because you're going to have another guy in the bullpen step up. Because you got to have Loy and you got to have Snead, even though they have been untrustable. You got to have another guy step up that can eat innings, and that could be Krenzel. I think that's why you've seen him so much. I think they have hope in him, and it could be Sharman as well. So we'll see how it all plays out, of course.
Lloyd needs to get going again.
He does again, yeah.
I think his problem's just been location recently, to be honest, because before his breaking, his slider and stuff was deadly, and now it's been hanging more. But I think with Phillips, there's a couple ways you could go out of the pen with him. Starting McLean inning, number one, or if you got second and third, hell, they're not going anywhere. So
hey, they may still home.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. You never know, but it's in that scenario you bring him in then. It's not a bad scenario to bring him in on. I mean, that's just, and maybe, you look at a team that doesn't steal a lot of bases. There are some that doesn't steal, but I think any team, though, sees this, they're going to try to take advantage of it.
Yeah, like they're playing. They're still playing Tennessee.
No matter who it is.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you go with that in mind. I think you got to have Loy. I was encouraged by Snead this past weekend.
He did look better.
He had the one bad pitch, but other than that, I was encouraged by him. I don't trust Franklin right now. He's giving up a run at least per inning.
No.
And he's got I think it's the pitch selection. I don't know
what it is.
If they don't trust his secondary pitches or what it is, because he's got a good fastball. But I mean, too, we're spending a lot of time on the pitching. The defense has got to be better.
Yep.
And our base running, I mean, you think about it, when Grimmer hit that one to the wall in the ninth inning, the guys on first and second stood there.
Yeah, they didn't.
They should have both tagged. I mean, it ended up being a moot point because Clark walked. But
the thing is, like,
little things.
I mean, the thing is about that, though, is like at that point, you take out the double play. Like, you get runners on second and third, you take out the double play. Yeah, they're probably the smart baseball thing to do, which you don't really see that much anymore, is in that situation, you just walk the guy to first base, intentionally walk him. So you can still keep the double play intact. You can even throw it home to get an out if you have to, because I think there was one out in the inning at that point.
There was two outs at that point.
Oh, there was two outs? Well, oh, okay. I thought there was one out, so sorry.
But, I mean, even still, though, maybe you walk the guy with an open base because it gives you a force anywhere.
Yeah, it doesn't make. And it was Jackie Bradley Jr. that he was confused. He was like, I don't understand. Like he said, both guys should have tagged up there.
Yeah,
not just tagged up to third. It's like both guys should have. And you had Jay Abernathy pinch running at that point, so it just didn't make any sense.
I think there's just a little. I mean, like we tried to bunt with Grimmer that one time, and it just. Yeah, I could have punched a hole through a wall.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense because it's like, okay, this is a kid. It's like, I think they said it was, probably was, I'm not 100% sure, but first SEC start. He's had hardly any at bats, and you want him to bunt in that big of a situation. Like, that's just not something that you do. If it's an experienced guy, yeah, you can have a guy lay down a bunt, but this is a guy that hasn't really played, and all of a sudden you're wanting him to do like lay down a perfect bunt in that situation. That was a little asking of a little much.
When you got runners on the corner.
It was kind of frustrating.
I mean, thankfully it wasn't a suicide squeeze, but I mean, it wouldn't matter because whoever come behind him didn't get the job done either. I mean, we left 12 on base. Guys just got somebody. We just need some guys to step up, and it can't be Fisher, Inslee, and Bargo every time. We got to have some more guys step up. I'd say Curley had a pretty good weekend, but
you can go ahead and you could point the fingers at the guys that you have to have step up. It's Keelan's got to do better in SEC play. Curley's got to do better in SEC play, and I'll say Chapman needs to be better in SEC play. The freshmen just got to continue to kind of give the production that they have. It's just kind of leaving them in there. I like that Tony didn't pull Grimmer out, even though he had that horrific bunt. And Tony may have thought that was his own fault in that spot. So that's kind of one of those things. I was happy to see him stick with him. I thought sure he'd pull him after that. He didn't. So that was kind of a change, but it's just one of the things to stick with the freshman. Levi Clark, I understand it's been an awful SEC play for him so far, but I mean, he showed hope. He's actually swung the bat pretty good.
Yeah.
He did have the runners left on base last weekend, but this Vanderbilt series, he did look a lot better to me. So I continue to give him at bats. And honestly, after seeing like Stone, like he could be a huge pinch hitter for us if we need it, or maybe even throw him in the DH spot, because it's not like you don't have any catching possibilities if Stone has to be replaced at some point. Like he's not having a good game, or you have to have a pinch runner for him. Like you have other guys that can catch. Like Levi Clark can catch and Dalton Bargo can catch. and they're probably already in the lineup. So it's just a simple change. So I don't really understand why Stone isn't really getting at bats because he's been lighting it up in the midweek so far.
It was the same thing last year when they wouldn't DH Peebles. It was the same thing when you were kind of rotating between Chapman, Vargo, and then sometimes Peebles. It's kind of the same thing. I mean, I'm like you. I'm glad they kept Grimmer in. I thought he swung the bat. I mean, he only was 1 for 5. I don't think I blame him for the bunt. He shouldn't have bunted at it. It was below his knees or down low. That's one.
He stabbed at it.
Normally you pull it out. I mean, when he went like that, he was in trouble.
And bent over.
Again, he shouldn't have been in that situation, though. Clark hit some good shots.
He did.
He got out once or twice, and he hit bullets, and they just made a play on him.
Yeah,
and
he was nice.
So I would keep him in. It's just that night that you go. I mean, because they pulled Chapman after that 0 for 4 4K performance. He's not been getting it done in SEC play. And do you go Chapman? I would probably still go Chapman, but do you go him? Do you go Newstrom? Do you go Abernathy? Do you go Marin? I mean,
I will say, like, the thing is where they did bench Chapman, that play at the wall that Newstrom had to make, that could have been a play that Chapman makes.
Yeah.
And that's a totally different ball game. Like Tennessee, I would be willing to bet Tennessee wins that game if that doesn't happen, because right after that you go to a weather delay, and it was just it was a very catchable ball. I get that he jumped at the wall. It wasn't over the wall; it was just at the top of the wall. I thought in the situation he should have caught it, and he didn't catch it. They got the double, and then they hit the 2-run homer after that. So. Yeah, that was kind of one of my things in that situation of Chapman probably makes that play.
Yeah, possibly so. I mean,
it's just one of those things.
Hit the glove, right in the pocket of the glove.
And it's kind of confusing. Like for Curley, okay, he hadn't been getting it done with the bat, and he definitely hadn't been getting it done in the field. You kept him in there. What's so different about Chapman? I mean, he's done something so far to really help you in SEC play. He went out there and almost pretty much won you and extended the game at Ole Miss in Game 3. If you don't win that one right now, you're hurting. You would have lost 6 straight series right now if it wasn't for that swing. So he's at least come up when you needed him most, and I can't think of Curley doing that so far this year. Maybe the Florida series, that's about it. So it's just kind of the double standard that kind of confuses me at times.
It happens. Yeah, it happens. You're exactly right on it. I'd have a hard time pulling Chapman out. I mean, because like I said, he has gotten the job, and he's played really good defense. I think
he's played great defense. Yeah,
and at that point, where do you go with it? So I mean, that's where I would go. I know I'd said last week I'd probably go Abernathy and Newstrom, but after I watched swing the bat, I don't have a problem with Clark and Grimmer the way they swung it. Now, my opinion could change this weekend if they go up there. If they're not striking out, that's the big thing for me. If guys are making contact, hitting it hard like Clark and Grimmer did, they keep doing that, it's eventually going to fall.
Yeah.
The law of averages will eventually work in their favor along the way. But, it's just a combination, man. It's getting hits. I mean, we've sent runners numerous times and gotten them gunned.
Yeah.
And just
Bargo's been, even tonight, Bargo, it's like we're sending him and he's getting out. So it's kind of confusing. And honestly, I was kind of thinking I wouldn't mind him leading off the way he's been swinging the bat. Unless if Keelan gets it started again, then you can keep Keelan there. But right now, Keelan, he hasn't. That's essentially he's the same production he's putting up is the same that you had with Curley. So it just in SEC play, not like overall. So it's just one of those things. It could be another tweak to the lineup, and I wouldn't mind having Bargo leading off and then Fisher. Bargo at least I would understand leading Fisher off, but where he's got 21 home runs now or 22, it's like, and he does good with runners on base. So it would be nice to have him leading off, but we kind of saw what the solo shots we've seen him hit solo shots, and they not really been able to help us too much because we're kind of in a situation this season where we need every run we can get. So if he can't have runners on base, we do need that.
Well, he's not getting them on base anyway. So
I'm just saying you got to hope for it. You got to at least hope for it.
Well, I mean, you hit lead off the one time, and then if your bottom of the order gets going, gets back to the top to him, you can't pitch around him because, in my opinion, you go Fisher, Inslee, Bargo. in that case. You might pitch around Fisher, but then you got Inslee.
Yeah.
The way he's hitting.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
it's a grasping at straws.
It is.
I mean,
I
what
don't
do you
see
do?
it changing, though. I don't think that there's a change there. Like where Tony said that'll probably be the way they go the rest of the season. So I don't see a change happening. But Keelan, I mean, it's just been people's been letting him slide under the radar, but it's not really been there in SEC play. And I get he had the hamstring injury, but the bat's got to turn around at some point because right now it's the exact same production that Curley's given you at the plate in the SEC play so far.
Yeah, hopefully it does. I mean, but to me, it's never too late to change it. I don't know where you go with the order because, I'm not one that believes in spreading them out. I want all my dudes at the top.
Yeah.
So, if you do that, where do you go from 4 through 9 then when none of the rest of them are hitting? I guess you go Keelan or Curley 4 and the other 5. If you got a guy like Clark going, could you move him up? But, they're not going to move. I'm like you. I don't see him moving anything at this point. I think it pretty much is what it is.
Yeah. The top, top 6 is pretty much set.
Yeah.
And after that, you kind of see a lot of changes. And I think this weekend, I think each day it'll be different. I think you see Grimmer, Newstrom, Clark, and Abernathy all possibly get rotated in and out.
Yeah, well, I know they've said against lefties, Abernathy's better against lefties, and he is a lefty.
Yeah. Clark's
better against righties, and he is a righty. So, they're analytics heavy on that team. Some of it's a little unorthodox, but, it's – again, they've gotten to this point for a reason. So, I'm not a big analytics guy, but at the same time, I don't totally discount it.
Yeah.
It's in there for a purpose. But, they've got the reasons on it around the way. The bottom line is no matter where you put guys in the lineup, they got to step up.
Yep.
That's just it. And I agree with you on it. It's, to me right now, Fisher, Inslee, and Bargo has been your 3 guys hitting. Everybody else needs to step up. Curley had a pretty good weekend last weekend. Hopefully he can build off of that. Hopefully a Grimm or a Clark who hit the ball hard, can build off that. We need to get a little bit more meat on Grimmer. Those warning track power balls, we need to get them up over a little bit more. He had another one back tonight, but he's got some pop. It's just getting those at bats for him. And I've seen some people worried about the portal earlier. Here's what you got to consider. A lot of these guys are going to be gone to the draft. I would say this, going from back to front. I think Peebles will get drafted high enough to go. Fisher drafted, Keelan drafted, Curley drafted, Bargo will get drafted, Inslee's out of eligibility, Chapman will get drafted by somebody as well, out of your normal guys. And here's the thing you got to keep in mind. Now, NIL's a different bird, and I think that's why Inslee immediately last year said, I'm coming back. But, I don't think these other guys will have the NIL opportunities that Inslee did either. And here's what happens. If you don't go to the draft this year and you come back next year and you have no eligibility left and you don't improve your stock, you're going to get nothing for a bonus, like a few $1,000s on it. So now it's kind of like Jared Dickey a couple years ago. Yeah, he went 10th round, but he had the flexibility where he could negotiate his bonus because he still had eligibility left. So that's something to keep in mind there. Will there be guys transfer? It's going to happen every year. Like Kerry mentioned earlier, this group of pitchers, if you go back earlier in the midweek games where they were throwing 9 or 10 pitchers a night, and now you're down to, 5? And a couple of them are guys who throw on the weekend some. These guys that we haven't seen in weeks, I think the writing's on the wall for them. A bunch of the pitchers. There'll be some, there'll probably be some freshmen go. Because they've redshirted quite a few. There'll be some that'll think there are better opportunities. There's some pretty good freshmen that redshirted too, though. There's some guys that redshirt year may help them. Somebody mentioned Seibert earlier. He was hurt this year. He was their top prospect coming in. I don't know if he was necessarily better than Coons. He was rated higher, but where could he help next year? But he had a surgery too, so I mean that's something you got to monitor with him. There's going to be attrition with it. I mean, you look at the pitchers. Doyle's going, what do you think, top 10? Probably.
Yep.
Phillips is going to get drafted high. There'll be a major league team that can think they can fix him with that. They'll work with him on it. Or it might be like you mentioned, he might become a Kenley Jansen and just be that way. Russell's going to be gone. Snead's going to be gone. I would bet Franklin. I bet a team sees he can hit 100. We can do something with that.
Yeah, hit 102.
Yeah. Loy will be back. Of course, Kuhn should be back. Arvid, I wouldn't be surprised to see Arvidsson get drafted. I mean, he throws high 90s. He's got good stuff when he's on. You're going to lose a lot of guys after this season. There's no doubt about it. And, but, that I know people say, well, they lost 8 guys. They lost more than 8 guys after last season because you're not factoring in the pitchers they lost. They lost their whole weekend rotation. They lost Combs, who was their dependable closer at the end of the year. You lost Cannell, who was, he could throw. He was, he was off and on last year, but he was still dependable for the most part. But this program's still at a point, to me, it's not, we'll be just good the next year, but they're still in just reload mode. And that's why a lot of this, again, I never expect him to be what last year's was. 23 was my comparison on it, but it's just the maddening things. I think that's been what it is. The errors, the base running, the unclutch hitting, the pitching. And it's just, but the good thing is, it is today's date is May the 13th. A College World Series hadn't been won on May the 13th at any point in history that I'm aware of, not in my lifetime. So, all it matters is you get rolling in 2 weeks. If you don't win another game the next 2 weeks, you're still going in, worst case, as a 2 seed. And all it's going to matter is you get rolling then, because we've seen it. Ole Miss was the last team in 3 years ago and won it. So
but they did. Like I looked at that last night. The week before the last, essentially where we just lost to Vanderbilt in that kind of penultimate series of the regular season, they did go to LSU and they did sweep LSU at LSU. And then that midweek before they played LSU, they played Southern Miss and they beat Southern Miss in that midweek game. And that's Southern Miss is who they played in the Super Regional. So they were in a little bit better position. Let's say we don't win Arkansas this weekend. They were in a little bit better position of going into it.
Well, they were playing better, but they were essentially the last team in. If they hadn't won those games, they probably wouldn't have gotten in.
Yeah.
But they had gotten hot at the right time.
They did,
which played their way in, and then they rolled from there. But we're right at about an hour. We had a pretty good crowd tonight. Appreciate you guys being in here. You got anything else before we wrap this thing up?
Huge series this weekend. You absolutely cannot get swept. I think you get swept. It's kind of, to me, if you get swept, it's going to be really hard to turn it around in the SEC tournament. And then, of course, in the NCAA regionals. At that point, if you get swept this weekend, I think it may be a quick postseason. You win one game, I'm not going to be happy because you've lost 5 or 6 straight in a row series wise. I'll at least have some hope going into the postseason after that. You win this series, it changes everything. I think you win this series, it could catapult you to a run. You sweep this series, then your fan base is going to be on cloud 9 if you sweep this series, if you can somehow do it. They have the potential. They have the bats. They can absolutely do it. It's just cleaning up a few things and they can get it done. Because, Arkansas is good, but there's not really one team in college baseball this year that's totally great. So they can do it. I know it's been hard winning in Arkansas for Tony Vitello and the few chances he's had, but I feel like it can't be done. Of course, I feel like we're going to win the series because I think you're in the back against the wall scenario. And Tony Vitello is finally fed up of it at this point. I'm sure he's about to a breaking point. I think if you lose the first 2 games this week, Sunday, he's going to be he may get tossed. He may get suspended on Sunday if something goes wrong. So we'll see how it all plays out. But it's just one of those things where it's like you're kind of running out of chances, in my opinion, because I feel like if you don't have anything going for you come NCAA regional time, I think it may be time to pack it up. You can, of course, get hot then. It's can happen. It's just such a small possibility. And at that point, if you've lost 5 or 6 straight series or 6 of the last 7 series of the regular season and then make a quick trip out of Hoover, it's just, you're not going to, I don't think you're going to find anything whenever that time finally hits. There'll be a 30 for 30 made out of it, though, if you do make a run into Omaha after that kind of start. But it is what it is. We'll see how it plays out.
Tennessee has won a game in Fayetteville.
It's probably because we haven't really made. We made the one trip down there. I can think
10
of.
years.
Yeah, it's
May
been
8th, 2015. The last time Tennessee won a series in Fayetteville was April of 2001. So
when was the last can you see when the last series we went down there was? Was it?
Yeah, we've not won a game in Fayetteville in 10 years.
Yeah, but like when
because we lost in 2023, got swept.
Yeah.
Got swept in 2019.
Yeah.
And then 2015. So yeah, I mean, we only played down there once every few years.
Yeah, we hadn't really played them that much.
But still, I mean, we've lost 7 in a row. Down there. It's kind of like freaking football. Something about that damn campus down there. Tennessee sports can't win a game on it, hardly. But good weekend to turn things around, though. So.
Oh yeah.
All right, we'll be live, or I'll be live for sure Thursday night. I kind of put my foot in my mouth on that one because I realized that's a late game. 8 o'clock? So it ain't going to be over till about 11 or so. And then I just kind of totally probably didn't make the right decision on that one. But yes?
Tony Vitello, excuse me, in the media said, he hasn't made a final decision on when Liam Doyle will pitch at Arkansas. He said, my only concern for Liam in general is just we've asked him to do a lot with the Friday Auburn, the Sunday Auburn, and then 100 pitches Friday Vanderbilt. So it could be you never know what we could see with this weekend.
So he may not go Thursday.
He may not.
Which I wouldn't.
If
they come back, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I mean, me personally, I like just running them out there again on Friday. Like, I think whoever you want to start on Thursday, whether it's Russell or Coons, I would lean towards Russell in that first game and kind of that situation. That's who I would run out there. I would run out Coons on Thursday night, or no, not Coons, Russell on Thursday night, and then Doyle on Friday night, and then kind of set you up for the next weekend as well. If you win one game in Hoover, you win the one game in Hoover, and then you play on Friday, and then Doyle can pitch again, and it sets you up again for the week after that in the NCAA regional. So you kind of keep them on Fridays. That's what I would do. But of course, where Tony just said that, he may not even pitch Thursday, Friday. He may pitch Saturday. You never know.
It kind of makes me wonder, could they, like I said, Russell or Coons on Thursday? That would be the only thing that would make sense to me on why they pulled Coons out at 48 when he was pitching as well as he did. They said, well, we're going to bring him back on short next week. So that could make sense right there. But, like I said, you keep Doyle on his regular pattern. And, maybe that's something, too. They need that jump start in game 2. And,
could be.
I mean, you look at the last 2 years, we've really thrown our best guys in games 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because it's been an opener essentially with Lindsey and then, Stamos Causey last year.
Yep.
Of course, their hand was forced over Russell, and then it was forced the year before because none of the guys were getting the job done at the time. But
all
right, interesting. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. We're out of here. We'll see you this weekend. He's Kerry. This is Frank. Y'all have a great evening. And last but not least, go Vols.